Move on. The 2021 State of the South African Cities report is out. It is published every 5 years to gauge development in 9 of the country's biggest municipalities. These are the metros. It indicates that poverty and unemployment are on the increase across South Africa. It also shows that while people are living longer in Cape Town, the rate of poverty there is one of the highest in the country. Let's speak about this with the City of Cape Town's Deputy Mayor, Eddie Andrews. Deputy Mayor, very good afternoon to you. A pleasure to have your time, or to have you with us, I should say. Did you expect these findings?
I think Cape Town always had the longest life expectancy in Cape Town. The last report also indicated that. What I think we must be mindful of that as municipalities, 67% of the people in the country reside in municipalities. So there has to be an aggressive response to the impact of urbanization. And so it's quite pleasing to see that life expectation is quite high.
Mm-hmm. You talk about urbanization. There's been a 0.9% increase in the number of people who live in informal dwellings. That's between 2015 and 2018 in the Cape Town metro. How quickly are you responding to that, given that that is a major economic center and the flow of people is unlikely going to stop anytime soon?
No, it won't. I think if looking at the forecast in terms of population growth in the next 5 to 10 year period, that definitely will be on the increase. And so people would flock to municipalities for an economic opportunity. And being unemployed, you can't purchase a home. So you reside either with family that are staying informally, or you erect an informal structure yourself. And so we've got a pipeline of projects that we're not just upgrading informal settlements into more respectable structure, but also looking at new informal settlements that we can actively identify areas where we can consider the influx of people that need to be relocated, purely because where they put up these structures would be in a floodplain, and when the heavy rains come, we are sitting with a situation where they are completely flooded, and we need to respond to that as well. So it's an ongoing effort on this part of the City of Cape Town, but not necessarily losing sight of it. It's very much part of our agenda to ensure that they have decent structures to reside in.
But of course, options are few for the poorest of the poor in Cape Town. Still, in this report, one of the stats that one can draw on is that 45.9% of people in Cape Town lived on less than 1,227 in 2019. And that also then brings into question how many of those people can be moved close enough to the major urban centers, because the cost of commuting is not cheap in South Africa.
Yeah, it's not something that we would be proud of as Cape Townians in terms of the people living, below that income level. And that is why in Cape Town we have our spatial development framework, where we're not just trying to create residential opportunities close to the CBD, in town or in other economic nodes, but looking at bringing the economic opportunity close to where people reside. For example, if you're looking at quite thriving sector at the moment would be your call centers, and most of the people live on the outskirts of the city and they have to commute through to town, and they spend 43% of their disposable income on transport to work. So we're really part of our transformation agenda, looking at bringing those opportunities close to people and offering those entities, those commercial entities, incentives to relocate and establish their business there. So ideally it would mean that people have an opportunity to be a lot more employable, and then B, also to perhaps increase their current income streams by being, accessing an economic opportunity that's now closer to home.
It's basically about taking this population that's living longer than people anywhere else in the country and making sure that the metro, great as it is great for all who live in it, regardless of gender, class, race. Precisely.
Just yesterday we went to Khayelitsha, where there was an informal settlements upgrade, where you don't have public open spaces. The densities is just too high in terms of in that little block there. And so now what we're looking at, very innovative designs where inside of the informal settlements to create little hardened surfaces that can really be a place where kids can play safely closer to their place of residence, and just so they can do it, but not just safe, but also with a sense of dignity. And if we don't harden those surfaces with the necessary engineering solutions, it will just basically be a dumping site or a puddle of water, and kids can't play there. And so that's why these conversations are so important, and part of our upgrading of our informal settlements plans.
Poverty also means then that you are unable to generate or collect as much money as you would like to as a metro in order to continue to deliver services, see to issues of development. When you look at the figure that I quoted there to do with the income, that was a number from 2019. With the COVID-19 pandemic, many more people lost work. We're now currently in the grips of a cost of living crisis that, yes, is not unique to South Africa, but what's that going to mean overall for Cape Town's ability to then prosper and improve?
So I mean, the model is where we, of course, we have our rates and taxes, and so people that living in areas where the property value is a lot more, where they're able to pay a lot more in terms of rates and taxes to the municipality. So they cross-subsidize the services in areas where people are, where those pockets that are quite impoverished. And so that ultimately is what the model's about. And so we ultimately in government to ensure that people's lives or quality of lives are improved over time and they're lifted out of poverty, and hence the economic opportunity and the growth of our economy is so important. And the biggest handbrake we have in the growth of our economy would be outages. In Cape Town, depending on who you're asking, we've calculated approximately every stage there's an outage, 100 million rand. The economy in Cape Town contracts by 100 million rand. And so that, if we can remedy that and reduce our reliance on Eskom over time, I think we will go a long way to meaningfully ensuring that our economy grows at a rate that is required, because if you want an economic opportunity, the economy has to grow. And so the big corporates won't be employing the people. It would be the small SMMEs who will be employing people. And as government, we are committed to ensuring that we have the political will, we have that, but the policy certainty to ensure that those areas of growth are enabled. And if there are no enabling factors there, rather create a pathway towards an economic opportunity. And those conversations are ongoing, because that ultimately is how we respond to urbanization, so that people's quality of lives are improved. They have access to formal houses, and we reduce the informal settlements in the city of Cape Town.
Thank you very much, Cape Town Deputy Mayor Eddie Andrews. Thank you.